It was a shortened day at the Georgia State Capitol, and we're already getting a taste of the rivalries and power plays.
CBS 46 political reporter Giovanna Dierpick joins us now live from the state capitol with who's taking the first swing in this. Giovanna?
Well, just like with some sports teams' rivalries, some battles just don't end. This one involves a bill that died in the last hours of last year's legislative session in the Senate. Well, this time, some state lawmakers in the House aren't wasting any time trying to bring it back. Just like some Georgia fans can't wait for a rematch with Alabama, some state lawmakers are not waiting to renew an old battle over adoption.
How can one claim to be a champion of life and kill adoption in Georgia?
Republican State Representative Christian Coomer is not letting the defeat of an adoption bill proposed in the House last legislative session just end. Democratic State Representative Mary Margaret Oliver also will not let it go because 13,000 foster kids in Georgia are counting on it. It's apparently because Georgia holds a title it would rather forget.
The #1 rate of increase of children in foster care. It has gone from about 7,000 to about 13,000.
But claims that old, highly controversial topic, religious liberty, came into play and killed the deal. So now lawmakers are striking first and fighting back on day 2 of the Georgia legislative session.
There was nothing in the bill that would discriminate against anybody on any basis.
This year's proposal claims to streamline the process and make interstate and international adoptions easier, more inexpensive, and faster.
The national average is 13 months, and in Georgia, it's 30 months.
And House Speaker David Ralston is making no bones about it that this is a priority.
That bill needs to pass quickly for the good of this session, not to mention the good of hundreds and thousands of Georgia kids.
So what is this going to come down to? Well, it's likely going to come down to the language of the bill and whether it's going to be perceived as allowing private adoption agencies to discriminate and to refuse to place some children with same-sex parents. Reporting live from the state capitol, Giovanna Dierpick, CBS 46 News.
Giovanna, thank you. CBS 46 is Giovanna Dierpick. She just got finished talking about the issue of adoption. Let's bring in the CBS 46 political analyst now, Rashad Richey, radio host as well, of course, extraordinaire. The issue of adoption, it is deeply personal for you.
It's very personal to me, but let me give some background to this because it's an election year in Georgia. When that happens, you get everything from the loony to the legitimate. Now, here's what's legitimate. You should make it easier for children to get adopted. Here's what's loony. You have lawmakers now trying to politicize this issue and say, oh, if you're gay or same-sex couple or marriage, you should not adopt. I take personal issue with that. I spent time in a foster environment as a child. As an adult, I mentor foster kids. And you know what they don't care about? They don't care about your sexual orientation.
They just want a home.
They just want a home that's caring and loving, and that is it. So politicians, I'm watching you. You politicize this debate, I'm bringing it front and center.
And you don't just talk the talk. We have a lot of offline conversations, and you're doing a lot that, never makes it to see the light of day for most people. What about lawmakers? Will they push this religious liberty bill again? I mean, we got the Super Bowl coming, and not that it's all about economics.
Super Bowl, Amazon, all of this matters. So based on the sources I've spoken with on both sides of the political aisle, this is a problem, okay? Unfortunately, every time there's a religion or religious bill, it restricts or allows you to discriminate. I want to see a religious bill that creates freedom and creates inclusion. But they're not trying to touch it this year because they want Amazon. They want the Super Bowl in 2019. This will go nowhere. You will hear some rumblings during the session, but the leadership on both sides will kill it.
All right, well, there's something that isn't dead, at least for one lawmaker, pushing a new way to vote. Explain that.
I like this. State Representative Roger Bruce is proposing legislation, and he's been on this kick for a couple of years now. It may get traction this year, but he's proposing legislation to allow you to vote anywhere in your county, period. So if you work close to your precinct, exactly. If you work close to your precinct and you choose to vote where you work or vote when it's convenient for you, wherever you're at in the county, because of our electronic format for voting, they can allocate that vote properly. And we kind of already do it with early vote anyway.
So why not do it? I mean, come on.
Yes.
It's what,
It's a
2018 now?
it's a
And
good
by the
idea.
way, when this man says he's watching you lawmakers, be afraid. Be
I'm watching.
very afraid.
Yes.
Rashad Richey, our CBS 46 political analyst, thank you.
Thank you.
If you'd like Rashad to dig into something or maybe a story idea from me, well, just follow me on Facebook or Twitter and present it. Happy to look into it. Thank you again, Rashad. Tracy?
All right, Sharon, thanks. We have some video you have to see, a dramatic rescue